Goes on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, going to go over the trades that we took on Friday as well as the game plan going into this week. So on Friday, this is what we looked like right off of open at 9:30. On the 30-minute chart here, this tells us the trend in the market. And with how we looked here on the 30-minute on the 570 calls, we were crossed. The 10 was above the 50, but this 50 SMA was still down at open. You can see right here, we got this massive red candle, and this 50 is still sloped down, so that means the market is neutral until that 50 could flatten out and curl up, or flatten out or curl up. Then we're neutral. Once it does that, then we would be flipping bullish, but that wasn't the case on Friday, and this is what we took. So what we're looking for was on the 0-day chart. I took the contracts off my watch list, so I just had the screenshots of what we looked like. So right at 10:30, this is what we looked like. Again, I actually had the wrong contracts, I think, in the screenshot. It was supposed to be the May 16th ones, not the 15th, but the chart is pretty much the same. The 10, or the 50 SMA was getting cracked below, 50 is still down, so that means we're still neutral. And since we're breaking below this key pivot point on the 30-minute chart and the bulls aren't taking this trend, most likely we're going to head lower, and we're watching for this put cross right here. If we got this put cross, I was pretty much going to confirm that the bulls aren't going to take the trend here. We're going to go back to neutral, and we're going to see it move lower. So right here, the puts were about to cross. This wasn't the entry I took. I think I waited like another minute or two after this candle ended up closing, and I forget what the entry was that I gave in the Discord. I'm pretty sure it was at like 30, 33 maybe, or 31, 32. Let me see. So at 32. So 3 minutes after this screenshot is when I entered, and we got an immediate move in the right direction. We didn't even cross yet technically on these contracts, but these are the times where you don't have to wait for the cross, because we know I don't have the screenshot of the next candle, but we know this 10 SMA is pointing up super hard. The 50 is already curling, and on that next candle close, we know that this is most likely going to cross and go lower. So, in this instance, you wouldn't actually wait for the SMAs to actually cross. Sometimes you front run it like this one, because we just know that it's bound to cross. Just the way the SMAs look, the odds are in our favor, especially with how this 30-minute chart looked. I mean, this was a really, really good setup to take, and ended up playing out perfectly. That was the only trade that I took. That was the only really, I think, good trade that did happen. There really wasn't anything else worth taking, but very simple trade. Neutral market, the 10's going below 50 on the 30. We just take the 0-day cross, and that was that. We got, I got like 70 points on this, and I ended up stopping even on the runners I had, because I did have some runners, just because with how this 30-minute chart looked, this could have dropped a lot lower, and especially what we had like the daily 50 as well. So with that in mind, I tried to hold some longer, but I ended up stopping at break even on the rest. So that's what we did on Friday. Going into the week charts, this is what we look like. I'm not sure what contracts we're going to get. I know futures are gapped up quite a bit. So pretty much just going to be, right now the market is neutral. So you can see on the 30-minute, 10 just went below the 50 on the call side. That's probably going to, change on Monday, I'm guessing, because futures are up quite a bit. So if we are bullish, obviously the focus is on the long side, but I don't think we're going to continue trending up. I just don't think that's going to be the case, because if we look here, do I have the wrong? Yeah, so we had this daily 50 SMA all the way up here at $10 a contract. My guess is that we're going to gap up right into this daily 50, and this is going to end up getting a hard rejection off of the opener on Monday, tomorrow. We're going to pop up into this 50, get a hard reject, and possibly lose the trend from there, because this has sloped down quite a bit, and we're on the daily time frame here. We don't always, see this. That daily 50 doesn't, happen that often, and when it does, it's a major pivot in the market. So this first test of it up here, I would think that this would get a rejection tomorrow, just because it's the first test of it. It's sloped down super hard. I wouldn't expect continuation once we reach this point. If futures gap up quite a bit, which they are right now, we're going to open right near the 50, maybe get a slight move higher and then reject, or just open right off of this 50 and then, continue lower. But I wouldn't say the market's looking super bullish. This daily 50 would have to break and cross for me to be extremely bullish. Until that happens, I'd favor this to, give a rejection off the 50, and, we'll go from there. So the trades really to look for tomorrow is probably some sort of, obviously the trend is bullish, so we're going to play with the trend until that daily 50 gets hit. But if we do open up near this daily 50, I probably will just toss a short on the table if we open up in here. I usually don't play these rejections off of like the higher time frames, but since we're at such a major pivot, I probably will take a chance and take some short at this 50. That's what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. If for some reason futures reverse overnight and the market somehow doesn't flip bullish, then market would be neutral. Focus would be either side on the 0-day chart for a cross. If we do open up green tomorrow, I'm not exactly sure if I'd take a 50 SMA dip on the 0-day chart, just because we have such a strong area of resistance on the call side that I wouldn't think that 50 SMA on the 0-day chart would end up holding. Just not like a high confidence dip to buy, in my opinion, since we are at a major pivot point, and I would expect this to reject off of the 50 pretty hard. So that's the plan for tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. A ton of information on there on how to trade these charts. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.